Breaking news from the center of North America's industrial heartland. And this time, it's not just another political headline. It's a statement that could fundamentally reshape the future of manufacturing across the continent. U.S. President Donald Trump delivered remarks that sent immediate shockwaves through trade circles in Washington. Trump that the Canada-United States-Mexico agreement is now, in his words, irrelevant. Just months before the mandatory 2026 review of CUSMA, the sitting U.S. president will publicly dismiss the agreement that governs more than $1.5 trillion in annual trade. And the implications are enormous. Before American auto workers, Trump said the United States no longer needs vehicles manufactured in Canada or Mexico. He argued that production should be brought fully back inside U.S. borders. But what makes this moment so alarming is we are less than 6 months away from the legally required CUSMA review. It's a process that determines whether the agreement is extended, renegotiated, or allowed to slowly expire. So what does this mean for workers, automakers, and consumers across North America? Today, we are breaking down 3 critical consequences of Trump's declaration. First, the immediate threat to integrated supply chains. Second, the scale of jobs now at risk. Third, the economic fallout that could hit households long before any formal policy change is announced. This is Conway Analysis. Let's be clear about what was said. On January 13th, 2026, during a visit to Ford's Dearborn, Michigan facility, President Trump stated on the record that the trade agreement offered no real advantage to the United States. I claim that Canada needs the agreement far more than the U.S. does, and question American consumers should buy vehicles assembled outside U.S. borders. He went further, saying America should make its own cars, and only its own cars. But here's the problem. CUSMA is not just a trade agreement. It is the framework that underpins the modern North American automotive industry. Every major U.S. automaker relies on production networks that stretch across all 3 countries. Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis manufacture hundreds of thousands of vehicles annually in Canada and Mexico, not because it's convenient, but because it's necessary. According to the American Automotive Policy Council, CUSMA allows U.S.-based automakers to remain globally competitive through regional integration. Integration saves the industry tens of billions of dollars every single year. And those savings are what keep American factories open. General Motors CEO recently stated that modern auto supply chains run seamlessly through all 3 countries and cannot simply be replaced overnight. Ford's CEO echoed the same message, describing North America as a single manufacturing ecosystem rather than 3 separate national industries. So when the president dismisses that system as irrelevant, the concern is not theoretical, it's operational. And this concern is amplified by what happens next. CUSMA is subject to a mandatory 6-year review in 2026. If all 3 countries agree before July 1st, the agreement continues for another 16 years. If they don't, the deal enters a state of annual uncertainty, with the risk of full expiration by 2036. Markets hate uncertainty. Supply chains cannot function under political ambiguity. Yet Trump's comments signal something even more disruptive. Since returning to office, his administration has already demonstrated a willingness to bypass or weaken the agreement. In 2025, the U.S. imposed 25% tariffs on vehicles imported from Canada and Mexico. Although exemptions were later granted under CUSMA rules, the initial damage was already go. It took a direct hit. More than 50,000 manufacturing jobs were lost, most of them concentrated in Ontario's auto. In a single month, Canada shed over 40,000 jobs as cross-border trade slowed and investment stalled. But here's what often goes unmentioned. These tariffs don't stop at the border. A sustained 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico would eliminate over 170,000 Americans. If retaliation occurs, that number rises beyond 400,000. Those are American jobs and chosen ones. The Tax Foundation reached a similar conclusion. Their analysis shows that Trump's tariff strategy represents the largest tax increase as a share of GDP in more than 300. The cost to the average U.S. household? Approximately $1,500 per year. Now let's talk about how these supply chains actually work. A vehicle assembled in Michigan does not begin in Michigan. Engine components may be cast in Canada. Wiring harnesses assembled in Mexico. Final assembly completed in the United States. A single vehicle can cross borders multiple times before it reaches a showroom. Let's see if we can numberize it. This isn't wasteful, it's strategic. Stellantis warned late last year that U.S. vehicles already face a disadvantage compared to Japanese imports.